One person, four people. Oh, you're all joining in already. I have a guest with us. She's white and she's fluffy, and she was just underneath the desk, and she did a little paw, and she reached out and she tapped and said, "Excuse me, I'd like some attention." So she may be making an appearance in a minute. But good evening, everybody. How are we doing? How are we on this fine Wednesday, the 20th, 5 days until Christmas Day itself? Good evening, Nemini. Hello, chatters. Hello, peeps. How are we doing? Looking forward to the big day. Yay, nay. Ian Thompson says hello. Chris said morning, Danny, Dolly, and everyone. Hello, Chris, from the other side of the world. Oh, here come the comments flooding. Sarah Regan, Branca Maria, Helen Ratter, hello, peeps. Emma Shaw, is the guest Dolly or Bev? It is indeed Dolly. If I'm not mistaken, there is an ambassador. Is it an ambassador for regional ambassadors? Or all ambassadors? I think, is it what's coming in the next half hour? Don't Parkrun have an ambassador thing sometime later on? Let us know in the comments. Yay. Hello, Tony Little. Hello, Elizabeth Shazam, Anthony Howe. Right. Any topics that you'd like to talk about parkrun wise, do let me know in a bit. I do have a couple of things to go over. Couple of the things that I've got down, well, three things I have down, really, maybe a fourth, is we have interactive squares. I'll talk about that and I'll explain that in a minute. Parkrun shop. So it's the Christmas items. I haven't bought anything, but I think some people may have opinions regarding that. And then Parkrun Forever. Want to bring that up very briefly. If you are a Parkrun Forever supporter, there's some information that's come out, which I don't think is really being spread publicly, which is a bit of a questionable communications decision, and then other bits. So yes, hello. Parkrun Ambassador News Roundup. So that's for all, is it? And I think they do it on an unlisted YouTube channel with StreamYard. They did StreamYard as well because they picked up StreamYard, having seen me use it and how handy it was. If I'm not mistaken, do correct me if I'm wrong. Colin App's here for half an hour there. Half of you guys are ambassadors, just going to switch over to the parkrun thing in a bit anyway. I'll end up losing half the audience. Ambassador News Group for all, I watched the one. Do you know what? I'll bring up the comment. Emma Shaw. The Ambassador News Group for all, I watched the one from 8 a.m. so it can stay. Oh, they do too. Is that because it covers Australia as well, the other side of the planet? It does, doesn't it? Parkrun Ambassador News Roundup, Simon Gardner, good evening. Rachel Bentley, hello. Yep, Branca Maria, here we go. There's an Ambassador News Group at 8 p.m. I watched at 8 a.m. so I could join you this evening. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. Alan Mullis, and then I can hear scritching at the door behind me. You can't go out, Dolly. Don't need you. You've been out for ages. German ambassadors currently meeting now. Okay, so look, all the time zones. Thank you, Liz Shazam. Ian Thompson, the shop being a bit of a bazaar is a bit whack. The focus is blurred, less is more. What? Oh, the focus is okay. I'm not actually literally. I believe lots of items that were promoted and prompted and all the emails that came out, loads of the sizes are sold out. I think the coats, Nicola was pointing to me that the dry robes, loads of sizes are sold out already. So either it's been a fantastically enormous success, big success, and people have bought them in their droves, or they didn't really have enough stock and they've kind of gone, well, let's come and get this for Christmas. And now there's none available. And yeah, curious. Let us know if you tried to buy anything. What some of the biggest things I've seen is that they went on the drive, they sent emails out every day, and we had that conversation about how many emails is too much. But they're not being delivered before Christmas. They're promoting it at the beginning of the month, 2nd of December. People put orders in, and they're now due to be delivered in between Christmas and New Year. They could randomly show up. It could be early, but estimated delivery date is after Christmas. So they're saying, quick, get your orders in before it's a lost opportunity. And now people are being given dates that are beyond that. So yeah, a bit of a mixed message. All this big flurry of stuff. It's not quite panned out. Okay, but you guys may have a different experience. You may say that I've got the items that I want, the size that I want, and it's all delivered on time. Do let me know. I'm just running off of anecdotal information at the moment, local to me. Correct, they use StreamYard. Yeah, because they didn't used to, and then I said it was a good thing to do, and I did it in the talks during the pandemic, if you remember, did it with Tom and others, and they went, this is good, isn't it? And so they've used it since. It is quite a handy tool. Tim Gallagher, hello Tim. Yes, 3 p.m. is the Ambassador News Roundup with PSH. Don't want to miss that. Does PSH making a Christmas appearance? Is he? Merry Christmas. Emma Shaw. There we go. Yes, covers all ambassadors worldwide. Right, fair enough. Okay, there you go. Lots of ambassador information for you. I'm not an ambassador, but I have to take elderly parents to Sainsbury's at 8. I need to go for a run after this. I've kind of done myself over a little bit. I need to go do some running. I didn't do beforehand. Go for a run and then do some speed work that I didn't do yesterday. I opted to do something else. And yeah, so I need to jump off this and go for a run around quickly in the dark. Tony Howes, good evening. Looking very festive, Danny. Thank you very much. I thought I'd wear the With Me Our Dolly jumper again, and I wear my Santa hat once more. I wear my King Danny hat on the live on Christmas Day for you guys, which is Sunday potentially, which is Christmas Eve, and then do Christmas Day. There may be 2 lives on the bounce. And you lot are chatting away. Oh yeah, because it gets recorded and then it gets uploaded into YouTube, and then you can watch the ambassadors stuff afterwards. You don't need to be live for it. Obviously, you can't interact with it there and then. Shall I give her a little appearance for you? Here she is. This is what you'll want to see. You're not really interested in what I have to say. This is being very placid today. You all right? Right. Well, you sit there then for a bit while I'll just hold you. You happy? Oh, you can get down if you want. No? Okay. Ian Thompson. I managed to lose my grey With Me Now cap on Monday. Went straight on the shop and ordered a new one along with a couple of With Me Now hoodies. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ian. I even had a dispatch notice, so might even get it before you all. They're very good just a little bit in terms of speeding for all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they are very, very good. Maybe Parkrun should have used them as well. Ian Thompson, love to Dolly. Hello, Dolly, beautiful dollies. Here we go. The beautiful white girly Anna McManus. And then Helen Patricia. She's such a beautiful girl. You going to do some purring into the mic? No. Right. Have you guys seen so you all put your hand up. I can't see it, but virtually put your hand up if you have seen Charlie Pierce's amazing chart, in what do you call it? Graph chart, I guess, that has blocks of 50 that shows you what box you're in terms of how many parkruns. X-axis is X-axis is how many parkruns you've done, and Y-axis is how many different events that you've done. Have you seen that? If so, then people often go, what dot am I? Which one am I? And you have to try and work out which one you are. However, I got informed about, Ian Thompson puts his hand up. Yep, seen the box chart. Johan Duvenhage has done it as well. Yep. So have a look at this. So I'll have a bit of a read. Hopefully my square doesn't get in the way. You may have to enlarge your screen if you're watching on a phone. This may be a little bit too difficult to see. It's a little bit difficult for me to see. If you're on a TV, it'll be perfect. The bigger the resolution. I've tried zooming in, it doesn't really make an impact. But most events, .park.run. So it's PARQ. Let me just bring up this banner. Keep this in mind because you may want to play with it. Most events .park.run. Okay. Keep that in mind. All good? And I'll take that off and then I'll go back to it. Data from 20th December 2023. So that's updated today by Craig Poxon based on an original concept by Charlie Pierce. So on the left, you have, actually scroll down so you can see it, events, and at the bottom, number of runs. You see that? The scatter graph, isn't it? Scatter graph chart, if I'm not mistaken. So as you watch, I do this, lots of little things are popping up. This is interactive. Notice in the bottom left, it only begins at 50 for total a number of park runs and then 50 total different events. If it was to be from 0, I have a feeling, because this is picking data off the parkrun website, it would have to ping millions and millions of times to get the information. So they've made the sensible decision for server-based purposes, I would assume, that it starts at 50. Otherwise, it would have been too much data to load every single time. Now, do you know what boxes you're in? Are you part of this box? If you want to go and have a play now, let us know. Let's have a look at the comments to make sure. Are you familiar with this? Helen Rutter just found me getting giddy. So you'll start to be able to determine yourself. There's an interactive version of it in Thompson. That's what I'm bringing up right now. This is super cool. Being a scientist, I love a good graph. So let's have a peek. So here we are. Let's go to the top area. There's someone up there. And then just here, you have Paul Fielding. There you go. Paul Fielding just here. So you got the top end of the most events. And as you scroll down a little bit, let's go and look in this box with 4 people in Charles Green. Who is that? Nikki Tarrant. Oh, that's weird. That's the little purple dot that just is right in the center. So ignore that. John Matthews, International Man of Expendable Income. So John Matthews is in Nikki Tarrant's box. And then David Piper and Charles Green. So there you go. 4 people bunched together. What's this one over here? What's this one? It doesn't seem to have anything around him for miles and miles and miles. So look at this. This is like Minesweeper. Who is this? This be me. Runs 84 events 438. So it tells you and it gives you your name. Nicola Forward. So we know she's on 650. So you've got what's she on? She's on how many different she's done? 200. She did that the other day, didn't she? And she's now on 650. So she should. There we go. Boom. Straight there. 650 events 201. There's Nicola Forward. Steve Darby is in here. So familiar names. Ian G. Hall, who I met at Morale Parkrun. Chris Jones, who used to work for Parkrun, financial man from Leeds Way, Woodhouse Moor. Dave John Williamson, who I think, if I'm not mistaken, went into 500 volunteers. We read his name out the other weekend. Done a lot of park walking and pacing. Kirsty Bangham. There we go. Andrew Mason, Polly Adams. And then over here, Darren Wood, of course. Darren has picked it up on the tourism side of things, but he's an 873 at the moment. So this is something for you to go and play with. So hopefully this has informed you. Anybody want me to try and find where you guys are? Let's have a look at some of the names. You're a bit potato internet, am I? Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. I just have to rely on it. There's nothing popped up on my screen to say got poor bars. Tony Liddell, I can't seem to open the link. Shall I? I'm going to post a comment. Try that. So that should hopefully go into Facebook and YouTube. I've just posted in the link in there. Colin Apps, looking forward to being a dot. And so, yeah, if you're not sure, find me, please. There's Rachel Bentley and Emma Shaw. So give me a second. Tony Liddell is now in. It's amazing if you can find yourself if you're in the middle of the bunch. Yeah, it's going to get harder the further down. Obviously, it kind of lends itself toward people who are a bit more individualized. And it worked for the link. Fantastic. Bev Gow, got to find, right? Oh, blimey. Okay, who do I find first? Who was the first person to ask? Emma Shaw. Oh, but Emma, what have you? You have to give me a hint, Emma. Too populated around me. 180 parkruns, 106 events. Oh, God, I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay, I know that Rachel Bentley is on 500 plus, so I'll be able to do Rachel in a minute. And then who else asked? Emma Shaw, Rachel Bentley. All right, okay, Rachel, let's find you. You're on 500 plus, so you have to be along here. You've toured a lot, so I think you're in and around here somewhere. Actually, you've toured a load, haven't you? But have you toured? Oh goodness, Harshad. Give me your details, your data and your bits. Give me a bit more information. So, Rachel, you were 500 earlier in the year. You'll be about 520-ish. No, hang on. You were February, so you'll be further on, 540-ish toward this end of things. And then I can't find you. Leslie Pym, Julian M. Boone. Let's have some more data, shall we? Just going to have a look. Matt Jones, 438 and 207. So 438, so there we go, 438. And then 207, 4382, 438. Oh, who would have if I looked in the right place? 438, 237. Oh, nearly. Oh, where is he? There's Andrew Chilcraft, Jacob Miles. Oh, where is? Are you sure, Matt? 207. Oh, am I looking too high? 438207. There he is. Ta-da! Okay. And Bev Gow, I'll have a look at and then see. Tony Liddell, 430, 158. Such a great data visualization, says Stuart Brownwood. 85 events, says Rachel, 500 club. Let's do Rachel and then we'll move on. Too many numbers in my brain now. 585 events, 85. I see you're well down. So I say well done. You know what I mean. 53. Is that Mike Dennison? Oh, what happened there? Oh, hang on a minute. What did I just do? It zoomed in. Huh? What did I just... Okay, I didn't mean to do that. Right. I'm going to stop this because I don't think it's particularly entertaining for many people. I take that off. Let me take that off. Go and have a look. Go and have a check peep. I will just put what it is again. Go and have a little play with yourself, looking for yourself even. And yeah, let's have a quick read in the comments. Tony Liddell. Sorry, I didn't find you. I just went and messed up. All I did was click the mouse and dragged it across, and it just zoomed in for some reason. Emma Shaw, my takeaway from this evening: I need to stop volunteering and just to run so I can be found on this graph. It would be great if the data could be done for volunteering as well. I will admit that. I'm sure. Can it be done? Because is the information on there? Charts and information are lining up. I'm not quite sure how it's done, but it would be good. It would absolutely be good to do that too. Yeah, don't want people to feel left out, because of course that is the case a lot. And people feel left out because it does tend to lend itself toward people who run more than volunteer, because the volunteers are left out in this instance. So yeah, I want to be aware of that. Paul Jeffrey, love it. I'd be in a solid black area, so no chance of finding me. 250 runs and 100 events. Can I just refresh? I'm going to refresh the page just to see what happens. Okay, I'm just having a bit of a look. Yeah, in the black dots. I don't know how it necessarily picks out the people. Or if it prioritizes people at the top on an alphabetical order. Oh, actually, if you hit a dot when it's got multiple people, it will give you the names of it. I'm running it over someone right now. So 256 events, 59 events, Shay Gardner, Wajid Raza, and Tracy Coakley. So it does actually show you if you're on the same thing as someone else. So not only can you see if you're in the boxes of the people, but you can actually see if people are on the same amount as you. So yeah, bit of fun. Definitely a bit of fun. Congratulations, time 2 for someone. Danny has wiped the whole day. broke the website. Find me or I'll give away your dinner, says Bev Gow. What did you say numbers wise? 126 events, 350 runs. Less than. This is not entertaining. This is not entertaining at all. What's all these little numbers down here? 5. Oh, it gives you a little amount as to how many is in the box. Okay. You can give away my dinner. I don't care, because people don't want to watch this. You find it. Right, where are we? Helen Rutter saved it into her bookmarks. Fantastic. Obviously, parkrun is not a cult, but when I move my cursor over the dots, I recognize a lot of names. It's a community. It's a community, Helen. It's a community. And I almost forgot. Karen Spackman sends her apologies. She is at the theatre watching. There's something about James. Yeah, there's. It's a bit lower today, this evening. I thought it might be. It is interfering a little with running leading up to Christmas time. Yeah, I did think it would be attendance down. Rachel Bentley's going to go and have a play, and Ian Thompson possibly broke it with a number of queries, he says. Right. I want to just bring up Parkrun Forever. Now, I'm not a Parkrun Forever person. I don't do it. There's no particular reason. Just I know that lots of people do want to contribute to Parkrun, etc., etc. And I'm going to bring up the old website. So let's have a little peekerson, and then share it. So let's have a pass over. So if you are a Parkrun Forever person, do let me know. If you're not aware of what Parkrun Forever is basically, it's like a monthly subscription. I guess it's like their own version of Patreon or Ko-fi. They go straight to Parkrun to help it sustain itself. So you're basically contributing to the running and organizing of Parkrun. Tony Liddell. Oh, by the way, just quickly say this about the old website, the mostevents.park.run. On the iPad, it just opens the runner's Parkrun page if you press on dot. Oh, cool. So you can go and see the people, see what they've been up to. Fantastic. So yeah, Parkrun Forever. And then, was it £3 a month, I think? Is that right? Parkrun grows, so do the costs, and then donations, Parkrun Forever animation. And then you have the Parkrun Forever thank you draw. As a thank you for your support, you'll be entered into our Parkrun Forever prize draw. The draw is also free to enter should you be unable to donate. And then you got some, I forgot what they call it, testimonials. Help keep Parkrun free for everyone forever. And then all the way down, and then some more testimonial stuff. And then down here, contact us by post, PFW Holdings. So that is Play Fund Win Holdings, Limited Suite, number 300, Peppercorn Close, Peterborough. So that's all on there. So this is not run by Parkrun, but it's done by a company for and on behalf of Parkrun. So that's that. hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into what Parkrun Forever is. Branka Maria, I am on Parkrun Forever and won a half zip out of it. I'm not sure about continuing though, so I'm not wanting people just to question this. I just want to relay what I'm hearing about it or seen about it, because I have a concern from the outside looking in regarding what's happened. Emma Shaw, I was doing Parkrun Forever, wanted to cancel after COVID times and found it so difficult to find out how to cancel that I ended up continuing it. Okay, fair enough. That's not great. So that's that. What has happened recently, I think Stephen Ferguson brought it up, and Stephen Ferguson said that, is it still going on? Doesn't it receive the emails anymore? Are people still winning stuff? They're not hearing much from it. And then something happened, was it this week, last week? Do let me know in the comments, where loads of people got emails about something. Everyone received an email and there may have been a potential data breach. So let me go and find the information on this. There's more information on, let's see if you can see this. This is the Facebook post from David Irwin, who's been asking questions about it, Director Parkrun HQ. Where are we? The Parkrun draw. So yeah, Claire Bassett said that Crystal Palace use it as well. And Crystal Palace said that Play Fun Win have confirmed all issues with the Super Draw are resolved. So it sounds like it happened to a variety of companies that they do this for. We've been assured that as all customer data remains safe and secure. We are sorry for the inconvenience and confusion caused, and would like to thank players for their patience and understanding. All affected players have received an email with more information from Play Fund Win. They're working closely with them to ensure this cannot happen again. So there are some question marks regarding the emails and how they all went out. David Irwin posted up a screener of, hi David, an email that's straight to Parkrun support and basically saying that Parkrun are working with PFW team and they've confirmed they've experienced a security breach that resulted in a significant system malfunction. So this is confirmed. The unexpected event caused a replication error in their draw system, leading to the generation of multiple winners of draws that had already concluded. As a result, automated winning notification emails were erroneously sent out. PFW and Parkrun are sorry that these notifications were incorrect due to the system error. So that's basically roughly what's going on, and PFW is working to rectify the situation. Oh, and also they self-reported to the Information Commissioner's Office, and the recommendation was it was not necessary for PFW to file a data breach in this instance. And then Parkrun trying to drive David towards Play Fun Win themselves. Play Fun Win themselves. The update on this. This is the thing that I find interesting about this. I have an update from HQ. They're going to abandon Parkrun Forever in the new year and have a new way of donating. I asked them to mention it tonight on the Ambassador Zoom meeting. I have cancelled my subscription and will donate in a different way until the new system is set up. I asked them to communicate that to all subscribers by email and not simply wait until the new Parkrun or the next Parkrun magazine in April 24. So thoughts on that? It's a little bit fascinating because why are people only finding this out by chasing it up? Why have they not got ahead of the curve? If they know about this, have they not then communicated and contacted rather than let chatter go out there? People going, have you heard about this? Have you heard about that? And then eventually someone's pressed the matter and pressed the issue and they're finding out that way. They are reacting with a response rather than proacting with a response regarding if they knew this has happened. So I'm a bit confused by that. It's bad communication. What does Bev Gow say regarding this? What Parkrun is in the image from the Parkrun Forever page? Okay. Don't know. No idea. It could well, is that, do you want me to bring it up again? I have a feeling that might be Tring. Is that Tring in the summertime potentially? I have no idea. Do let me know. Emma Shaw agrees. Could it be Tring? PFW have probably had the rug pulled out from them by the breach. Yeah. So something's happened, but are you guys, any of you watching, are you a Parkrun Forever people? I mean, what are your thoughts? Have you had emails? Did you have a variety of emails saying you won something and didn't, and then it was all a bit confusing? And yeah, let us know. And then Tring, the irony of using Tring, if it is Tring, which I think it is because Bruce Lee does a lot of photographs and he may have been there, it may have been one of their ambassador gatherings, I think. I'm going off the top of my head. Yeah, Tring doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, there's a lot of irony, Ian, you're right. And And Helen Rutter, I was a supporter, but seriously thinking of stopping now. Well, it sounds like they're going to do a new thing. So maybe keep going. I don't want to take money away from parkrun. Keep going, and then switch over to the official thing. But I don't know why people are having to find out this way. Why has this not been communicated sooner? I don't get it. I don't know why they don't just email the people and say, look, this is what's going on, rather than it kind of coming via me or other people. I don't get it. I don't get that at all. I'm sure there's might be legal things involved, might be data and information involved. I've no idea. Simon Gardner, forgot all about it. Never read the emails, to be honest. I know people did win things, but when was the last time people won? It's yeah, don't really hear much about it. It hasn't been promoted. It's going a bit quiet. It's a little bit like Contra, isn't it? Contra's gone super quiet now regarding. You don't see it anywhere near as much as you used to. Trying to spin many plates, perhaps, in parkrun world. Dolly, you can keep scraping away at the door. Can I let her out? Sorry, guys. I'll be back right 1 second. Don't go. I know, Bubba. Yeah, go in there. And then you will mute in a minute to come back in again. Because that's what she does. This is what all cats and like dogs and stuff do, isn't it? That's what all cats and dogs do, isn't it? That they like to be in and out. They can't make their own mind up. Helen Rutter, I would happily go to a new platform. And GDPR. Yeah, Ian Thompson, maybe GDPR implications. Absolutely. So we're all scratching our heads a little bit thinking, what is happening? Kerry Eastwood won a purple wristband back in 2019. And then my PayPal stopped. Is Parkrun Forever still a thing? Apparently it's not going to be in the new year. But again, finding this out by proxy. Emma Shaw, I think moving forwards, I'd rather donate a small amount to specific events I tour to that don't have much in the donation pot. Yep. Yeah, Parkrun Forever will fundamentally cover the charities costs, which I think is salaries and office costs and everything else and bits and pieces. So if you want it to go more directly to the event, then there is that option, definitely. David Irwin, thanks for bringing this up today. Yeah, you're welcome. I think it's important. I think it's not trying to, I don't want it to be that people are frightened of talking about this sort of stuff, because it's not necessarily negging on parkrun. It's something not quite right. And it affects many of you. Many people watching right now are big parkrun supporters. So I just want to make sure that collectively people come together and talk about this rather than it be done on the down low. I do think sometimes there's a bit of a culture of we don't really need to publicly say anything, so we can just address it one by one reactively. And you're like, again, is that really the best communications decision? It would just be good favor, and it would be just make you look decent to go, look, we know something's going up, everybody, we're working on it, and email out. Because that's the thing, they did know this. They could have sent the email they sent to David individually to everybody that is on that list, and then they go, oh, actually, you know what, Parkrun's working toward it. Some people may not have been aware of the issue, in which case that's fine. But they go, oh, actually, look what Parkrun's doing. They're looking after us. They're trying to help us in that respect. So I do find some communications decisions very, very funny on occasion. Very funny on occasion. I'm sure there'll be other reasons, but can't quite scratch my head hard enough, because like with the minute you've emailed David that information, it's kind of going to get out there. Anyway, right. I don't think I really need to talk particularly long. Anybody want to talk about something in particular other than that? I know the ambassadors have got their little meeting. I contemplated having a little bit of a fun thing where I'm being a bit not prodding a bear, but the thing, I think, what did I see the other day? No, it was actually from the weekend, wasn't it? Where, bless her, the run director, Holly Ragg at Belton, where I was, she said race director, but it's not the main trigger in terms of the whole, the degree of semantics and language that we use and everything, and the purpose behind that. So, of course, if someone says race director, go, but why is that? And because, of course, we're understanding of the term that it's not a race, and then you're either on board with that or you're not. And because you'll see in comments, and especially on Twitter, that lovely platform that is Twitter, you'll get lots of anonymous accounts insisting and go, rah, 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 it is a race because of X, Y, and Z. And I thought maybe worth just having a little bit of a brainstorm thing about why is it not? What are the differences? Trying to sort of maybe consider well, obviously we know the reasoning behind it, and also the message it sends. There is the connotation behind the term race, and the connotation which is softer behind the term run. And I was going to just go over that and see if your thoughts gelled with mine. Helen Rutter, talk about your plans and ideas for next year. Maybe you need your own helicopter plane to reach your Nenids. Do you really want to know that? Do you really want to know what I want to do for 2024? Ambitions and plans, because it's, I mean, there's lots of dreams and pipeliney stuff, but I mean, whether or not making it reality is a different thing entirely. I might come back to that in a bit. We need a guest Bev Ross appearance, Christmas special. And if you are watching, guys, and you haven't put a comment in, please do. I love the fact that we have Ian and Helen and Emma and others, and you're all watching, but don't be shy to chip in with something and get me going on a conversation topic. Bev is been asking me, impressing me, says, please, can't you do Pictionary? Can't you do Pictionary for Christmas Day? Or something along those lines, or maybe on Christmas Eve. Would you be happy? Well, I would like Bev to come back. I'm more than happy if you guys are happy to do a Christmas Pictionary, bringing back memories of the old pandemic time. And then here we go. So the race stuff. We'll talk about this in just a sec. So yeah, the only person you're racing is you. Okay, comments are coming. I just asked and now they come. Is a 5K app broken this week? Everything has turned red, but it seems a bit early. What do you mean, Tony? Everything has turned red. What's that? Let's have a look at the 5K app. You sure everything has turned red? You might be right. I'm going to look now. Park runs. Find a park run. Let's have a look at the map. Zoom out. That's just Christmas. You may not have heard this week's pod. So that is, I'm assuming, all the events that aren't going ahead for Christmas. So that's picking up. So the orange means there's going to be an impending cancellation. So that means there's variations at this point right now. So it picks up the fact there's a cancellation in the system further down the line. And then the reds are cancellation coming. So yeah, that is early. I get what you mean in terms of it early, because there's one more park run to go. Now I see what you mean. Yeah, not quite sure why it's showing red exactly. Maybe they're just doing it now before. Now, if you saw that, you think actually there's loads of cancellation, wouldn't you? Good question. Good point. Technically, I'm not quite sure why it's doing it so early. It would actually tick over to the following day. Yeah, good question. Blimey, all the comments. Mark Brockerhurst. Yeah, fondly remember down count. One day I will win. Yeah, could bring back down countdown. I'm a bit reluctant to kind of echo back to those memories. It's yeah. I guess I don't really want to think about 2020. It wasn't the best time, was it? Mark Williamson, hot foot from the Dojang. Good evening. All right, he's been doing Dojang is what? Karate, Kung Fu, something like that. Helen Rutter, can you change the settings not to show those? I think. Yeah, people saying yes to Pictionary. David McNulty, hello David. As we come into the festive season, I see lots of events struggling for volunteers. Victoria Dock Parkrun are looking for a run director this weekend. Okay, that's a fair topic. I had this conversation the other night. Volunteering and this matter is always a very, very sensitive subject. I have repeatedly expressed my ideas for potential solutions and ways of doing things. Whether or not, well, look, not everybody watches what we do or say. Not everybody's going to hear what we say. Sometimes it feels like I'm saying stuff and it's falling on deaf ears. Victoria Dock, and then you also have geographies involved. So if they're looking for a run director this weekend, if they cancel, they cancel. Now, I'm going to sound like a stuck record. If they do have to cancel and people go, it's a shame, well, that's it depends on what resource you're pulling on. I'm not going to suddenly go, I don't want this to be a conversation about people need to volunteer, do more, step up, stand up. That's a horrible path to go down. There are other solutions. If you're going to rely, so I'm not saying Victoria Dock are this, there are events that rely on Facebook they put out, or they may not even communicate. They just go, well, we don't have enough people on our email list, or they rely on Facebook and they go, well, we asked on Facebook, we didn't get anybody. If you think that Facebook is going to cover all and be your sole answer, that's an issue. And they go, oh, people who run regularly each week, they need to step up. Okay, so it's very, I don't want to pinpoint people, but okay, Victoria Dock doesn't happen. What's the consequence if it gets cancelled for a week? People will go to Beckton or Thames Path or other ones around their Mile End. They have loads of others left over. So there is no, okay, there's no parkrun here today. I'll go elsewhere or lie in. Solutions to try and drive people toward an event. So if you stand and you shout and go, you need to do your thing, you're going to put more people off rather than encourage. I spoke about this very recently with Delston Country Park. Look to the events that never struggle and see what they do. Are the same events that are struggling doing the same thing as the events that never do so? And I don't think there is. I've seen many comments recently like, oh, remember the rule to volunteer 3 times. And oh, I looked and we counted. Oh, there was an event that recently said I saw. We looked at some people and they have only done like 1 volunteer out of X amount of hundreds of runs, and the language is really passag and it's really angry. And you're like, I wouldn't want to volunteer for you. I feel like I'm under pressure. You put me off more than if you race to the bottom and you guilt trip and you just get through. That's fine. You cater for your roster for a week, but you're creating a pretty stressful environment. And people go, oh, I don't necessarily want to be helping you out because, yeah, you're guilting me into it. But there are many, many events that don't ever struggle and they do things in a particular way. And I have repeatedly said that if you think you're just going to stand and shout at your running community and expect them to make a difference, you're going to put more people off. Aim for the people, and I'm just talking generally, aim for the people that do not want to run or have no interest in running. Wasn't there a post I saw earlier about somebody who'd been to parkrun 200 times, no interest in going around? There are 8 million isolated people in this country. The last time I saw an article on this, there are 8 million isolated people. Many parkruns have people around them that are on their own. That to me is a giant resource of people that would be willing to come down, have some community time, help put an event on, get to know people, be a part of the community, especially, and let's make this Victoria Dock, especially in an area like Victoria Dock in London, where many people can feel isolated. So I don't have all the solutions. This is a generic comment from David. I get that. Lots of events struggling for volunteers. I don't know what we're going to do just by talking about it, by saying, right, then we need to do something more and make people do more, because we have volunteer credits now. We have volunteer milestone t-shirts. That's getting recognized more. If it's still impacting certain events, then it's not about the material items and material gain. There has to be something else more regarding it and the culture of it all. So, and what I don't like is that Victoria Dock Parkrun anecdotally go, well, this event, therefore it's not happening with the run director, therefore this is a big issue all across the board. Well, it's not. Otherwise, if it was a big ongoing continual issue, you wouldn't have 770 out of the 800 UK parkruns that happened last week. You would have 500 events happen, because 500 cancelled without enough volunteers. So there are enough volunteers, but you will get an instance, an occasion where geography, time of year, just a general availability of people means an event is going to be a bit tight. And I've been there with Surbiton Juniors. There was a couple of times when it was very tight because just people weren't around, but most of the time we always had a plethora of people. But really not getting cross or angry about it. I'm not saying David is, but getting cross and angry about it only serves to spiral down and put more people off. So like I said, I'm not trying to give all the answers for anything. I'm just spitballing and giving my opinions about all this. Yeah, and I'm conscious and aware, and I certainly don't want people to go, oh, remember the rule, it's 3 times a year or 1 in 10 or whatever, because you're not going to oblige that. And of course, the thing is, you can pick out certain people. Oh, I've looked at this person who's done loads of runs, and you can shame them, but you forget all the people who have done less, and you don't pick them out. And do you know what? They'll go elsewhere. There are 800 parkruns in the UK. So if you put someone off somewhere, if you make them feel bad, most of the time they'll have options. So the consequence is just to go elsewhere to a parkrun they feel more comfortable at. So anyway, thank you for that. It certainly got me talking. Right. Let's whip through the comments. Plans for parkrun 20. So more. I'll tell you about my plans in a little bit. Good evening from the beautiful parkrun town. Beautiful. Phil Benham, which is Swanage, Dalston? Yes, if I'm not mistaken. Just happened to speak about you guys. There's a prime example of how you can make an event be strong and powerful regarding its volunteer basis. Carrie Eastwood, I thought a parkrun chose not to declare rather than give cancellation reason on EMS. Oh, hang on. When was the cutoff date for when every event that hasn't confirmed suddenly goes, yep, you're cancelled for Christmas? Maybe that has had an impact on what it reads the data from. Emma Shaw's app looks normal, no reds. Okay, why's mine showing it then? Paul Pascoe, hi from New Zealand. Hello, Paul. How you doing? Hope it's well. Hope you are well. Even first thing in the morning over there, isn't it? Roughly 11 hours. Yeah, about 7 o'clock or so. Ian Thompson agreeing about the weirdness of the red. Yeah, usually it's next, but it is showing. Yeah, it is a bit of a phenomenon, isn't it? Aberfield's parkrun is on this Saturday, so don't look at the 5K app and see the red and think it's cancelled. I think it's just picking up on the Christmas and New Year ones coming up. Ian Thompson referring back to, the pandemic is awful, but our lives help people get through it. Yeah, that's part of the reason why I brought back for December. I just think we're going through a bit of a bad patch at the moment, and that's why I think it's got echoes of that 3 years later. Johan Haig, have a good night. I'll watch the rest later. My meeting multitasking skills are a bit limited. No, totally get you. I understand that we're going to lose some other people. They've got flipped over to the ambassador meeting for parkrun. Evening, Danny. Hi, everyone. Sorry to be late to the live. No worries, Tony. Emma Shaw, here we go. Volunteer topic. An incredible volunteer wrote it is Bruton Parkrun. I don't know how event director ambassador Andy does it, but it's incredible. Certainly pumping weeks ahead. Bev's done that does it for Kingston. She does it for Lovelace Juniors as well. I've just been signed up to do most of March for Lovelace, I believe. Toward the end of March, I'll be at Lovelace doing run director duties and doing it on 31st, as a matter of fact. And trying to spread myself between them and Hanworth. I do miss Hanworth, so I'm trying to sort of share myself, but Hanworth are doing very well volunteer-wise, so I'm lending myself to Lovelace while it gets itself off the ground. We have an amazing volunteer at Huntingdon called Elaine, says Tony. She tried running and didn't enjoy it. She now sings everyone up the hill. There are some people who just don't want to go around and do the 5K. There are loads of them out there, but they benefit just as much, certainly from a mental health point of view, by being there, getting up, being excited, finding friends, making friends, being part of something, happy to cheer, clap, sing people up the hill. Absolutely. My parents, mum and dad have no interest in going around the 5K, but happily put a little pink bib on and stand there and cheer people on and get out and about and have some quality time outdoors. Helen Rutter, there's such a win-win. The person makes new friends and connections. Amen. Martin Owen, it was the airfield one that shamed non-volleys. No, Hen Street Airfield. No, I don't think they shamed non-volleys. I think that Hen Street Airfield was a very different animal. That's unfair on them, Martin. If they did do a post like that once, it was probably a little bit out of frustration, but they were a very unusual animal. Again, what I mentioned, geography plays a big part in all this. And Stephen Bartlett, isn't it? Yeah, no, he emailed us, and he's very lovely. I've met him there. He is a very lovely guy. I think Henstridge, you are going to get that. So when I say, find people around you locally, what happens if you are in the forestry? If you're in the Forestry Commission or National Trust properties, or there are other ones that you can only get to by car. You can't get a bus over there. It's not easily accessible by public transport. There are no train stations nearby. So you're also going to limit yourself as to people who have access to cars or being able to be taken over there in a car. So Henstridge Airfield was one of those. It's not surrounded by lots of housing estates, so people can just walk out the house. Henstridge Airfield stopped, but may come back in another form. There was more to it as well. If you listen to the pod, then I believe the email we got, there's more to it regarding that. Just little things. Sometimes little things just happen and events have to go. But yeah, never say never in terms of them coming back. Never say never. In terms of my mum is socially isolated, but despite me trying, she won't join me at a parkrun. I think she'd thrive. It's really hard to reconcile it. Yeah. I mean, I really want my mum and dad to be able to get to a parkrun, but the nearest one to them is Jersey Farm, and they have no access to car, and there's no buses that go there. So, getting people to, and they used to get taken up to Ellenbrook Fields, even though they could have walked. So there is also accessibility issues, isn't it? And also how ambulant some people are physically more than others. And then again, the thing with junior events is you can generally get parents to fill the ancillary roles without much trouble. Not always, not always. Even trying to convince sometimes. And then, of course, I don't know what to do. Do I need to register? Do I need to have a DBS check? I need to go off because our kids have got church or football or swimming immediately afterwards. In theory, Ian, in practice, depends where you are and how many parents are available, and not always the case. But you could actually level that at 5K. You can say there's spectators there. There are spectators there. Christmas Day, you're going to have tons of spectators at Christmas park runs. Could all be roped in to do a bit of fun volunteering on occasion, maybe start a passion for it. But yeah, it's so nuanced, isn't it? It always is, that word, nuanced. Chrissy Fuller. Hello, Chrissy Fuller. The first time I mentioned you. My 70-year-old dad volunteers at junior parkrun regularly. He's never done a parkrun as they tend to struggle. Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully he loves it and enjoys it. I'm sure he does. It can certainly kickstart your weekend in a positive way, make you feel very satisfied. I certainly get that. I'm mostly tired. I get up earlier on the weekend than I do some of the times during the week. It's the benefit of working from home, but park runs having to get up sometimes. Well, obviously tourism very, very early. Helen writes, on the top left of the app, you can turn off the show cancellations. I will have a look at that later. David Douglas, where I live in the Midlands, we have probably had 5 or 6 new park runs in the last few months. It feels like most of them are struggling to get volunteers already. So all new park runs are a good thing in an already crowded area. Well, yeah, you had the Aston Hall element. Is that what we're talking about? And then you've got Battlefield Croft and Tamworth. So spreading it out. But there's not a finite resource of volunteers. I mean, Tamworth is a town. There are thousands of people. There are thousands of people out there who are still not quite sure about parkrun, unaware about it. I'll reiterate there are millions of people isolated who, if we can encourage and cajole, connect with other local groups, Rotary clubs are there. I mean, you got the GP practice thing, trying to encourage people to go along. What other groups will send people that way? Just institutions that potentially can help people get there, local community groups that would potentially say, look, I have my nan, granddad, uncle. I'm looking forward to a junior park run starting somewhere, me personally, and I'd like to get my uncle involved, and I really think that he would love it and benefit from it. But yeah, I'm the one who's going to have to do make the effort and be the driving force and take them there and encourage it and hopefully plant that seed. So I think we've all got responsibility in that respect. Who is messaging me on the phone? Emma Shaw. I have signed up for 8 timekeepers over 16 days, Christmas and New Year, long-term injured. So yet another great appreciation for volunteering being a thing at Park Run. I'm giggling because 8 timekeepers over 16 days. Yeah, because I was trying to work this out. We have 6 park runs in 9 days, isn't it? So of course another 2 for the following weekend. Yeah, you've got your 5K and your juniors. So 8 park run days if you include junior park run. 5 5Ks and 3 juniors over 16 days. It's going to be a busy period. Chrissy Fuller again. My parents both volunteer most weekends at juniors. Oh, same comment again. No interest in doing 5K. Martin Owen, apologies. It was a question though, not a statement. No, it's fine. I mean, don't apologize. Like I say, I do tend to see a lot of Facebook posts. With Me Now follows a lot of events, so I do see a lot. My feed, the With Me Now feed, not my personal one. I don't use my personal one. The With Me Now feed is primarily parkrun stuff, and it does tend to lend or favor itself or toward obviously ones that are a bit more engaged or ones that I've been to. Just the algorithm shows that. But I did see bits and pieces from Henstridge Airfield, but may have missed that one. Imran Zafar, hello from Singapore. One big difference I noticed from UK compared to Southeast Asia park runs was a huge community of people in the UK who volunteer but don't want to run, particularly from the elder community. I noticed this all the UK park runs I touristed at. Yeah, I think there's a massive resource of parents out there that we need to deploy. That's what we need to do. If you're busy looking at people on the start line going, right, you need to give up your run and volunteer, not a great culture to have. However, if you go, we know your parents might be at home feeling slightly isolated, bring them along, whack a bib on them, and all of a sudden they'll feel part of a community. And yeah, I think we all have responsibility to try and drive that forward. Like I say, I'm going to push that with my uncle, and I wish I could do more for my parents. If I live locally, they would be being dragged No, that's wrong. They would be being dragged. I wouldn't even be dragged because they would be more excited than me. I would take them merrily to Jersey Farm or St Albans and so forth, or even Pantanger. Ruth Perkins, good evening from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. Hello, Ruth. Blimey. Was surprised that my Nendi is currently Salento in Italy, but I'm back to Manchester Friday. Phew. I found a women's running club last night. I think parkrun will be warmly welcome. I really don't want to turn this into okay. Each to their own regarding their opinion. Parkrun will be warmly welcomed in Saudi Arabia. I'm not going to turn it into a political thing because where there are different sort of opinions regarding parkrun's ethos and equality and equal rights element and inclusivity. Saudi's got big question marks. And I mean, the reason we came out of Russia was the fact that they invaded another country under dictatorship. So, and then let's come away from that. The worry is that there's connections between our government of Saudi Arabia and then the money. There's lots of footballers going out there. You saw that with Jordan Henderson. I don't think that will go down very well with the parkrun community as a whole. I'm sure there'll be plenty of money. I'm sure there will be expats out there. It does not gel. You can throw arguments about human rights left, right, and center about every single country. I mean, the UK and its empire in the past, the USA and its various wheeling and dealings. And if you know your history, you can go around and around in circles. Saudi Arabia and parkrun, would they be tempted by the money? Would there be political pressures to potentially get involved because of the connection between the government? Maybe so. Would it be a good thing? I think there'd be a massive pushback. I mean, lots of people were asking rightly for us to come out of Russia as soon as they did what they did. Interesting opinion, Ruth. Interesting. I don't necessarily agree. Certainly entitled to your opinion, but I don't think that would be that would be another gate. 2023 comes to a close. So what was your favorite parkrun memory of 2023? I'll try and come up with that off the cuff in a second. We'll just go through the comments. Favorite parkrun memory? I'd have to go through my parkruns. Certainly, experiencing countries that I wanted to get to, like Norway, Oslo, and so on, and then the Netherlands, and being with close people. I think the celebrating people with milestones like Jem's 250, even Nigel's 25. There are a lot. I would have to go over where I've been this year to pick out one in particular. There's so much happens, so much goes on. I remember so much. Imran Zafar, completely agree. Is that regarding Saudi Arabia? Going to have to disagree, Imran, I'm afraid. Look at all the furore about sports washing and everything else. Like I say, it's a political matter, and then ideally not something to bring up because trying to get everybody to agree on politics, it's a bit of a tricky one. I'm always aware about that when I mention certain political leanings in this country that I have. Woodley Parkrun and Woodley Juniors love my mum. Also, since I introduced my mum to volunteering, she has blossomed, and for me, she has made a difference to both those parkruns. Plus, now when she doesn't go, I get messages of "We've missed your mum's cakes." What's plus in now? Is that a spelling error? Sorry. Which doesn't go. I get messages of "We've missed your mum's cakes." Yeah, I felt so proud that mum and dad were happy at Allenbrook Fields. They were really looked after. Matt Jones, loving the interactive most events. I sandwiched between Jeff Marshall and Imran Ali. Oh, there you go. Two of the more famous park runners. Sandra Stockford, we struggle to get parents to help at juniors. Those they tend to do 5K. I think as a junior park runner as a whole, we have to remind ourselves that a lot of juniors that get taken down, I would say, are taken down because their parents are active and want to try and encourage and help them find that lifestyle association with exercise. This is why parkruns within areas of deprivation have probably got a smaller turnout. I go to one at Hamworth, and also you have said this in the past, like culturally in terms of workloads. If people are doing what's the term? Is it white collar jobs? They work Monday to Friday. Blue collar jobs. Is that right in terms of shift stuff? They won't necessarily want to be up on a Sunday morning, and so the patterns are different. But I think yeah, trying to encourage a parent to want to get up on a Sunday to take the kid down to do a junior park run. Normally, they only really know about junior park run because they do park runs themselves as well. So you also have like a reduced bubble of awareness of the event. I'm just generalizing, but I think that's not far off the mark. Ian Thompson, yes, it is off of the underground videos. Yeah, he's a big old park runner, big old tourist. I think he's London as well. Simon Till, catching up later, but can't believe how often Danny pops up on the Emma Shaw live show. Very good, very good. No mention of Parkrun Forever in the ambassador presentation. I'm sure something will come out. I'd like to think something will come out at some point. Evening, Danny. A shout out to Janice North, mother of Joanna Parkrun. Parkin, who emigrated to Australia. Janice regularly volunteers here at Epworth Equestrian and has also been volunteering on her current visit out there. Shout out to Janice North, mother of Joanna Parkin, who emigrated to Oz. Janice regularly volunteers here at Epworth Equestrian and has been volunteering on a current visit out there. Oh, superb. There's a shout out for you. Paul Ormond, I'm around. Hello. And can't believe I got 2 mentions. Yeah, that's fine, Martin. That's okay. That's good. I'm happy to mention you. You're muted on Twitter, though. And we've got GTEX 1963. Hi, my running club, the Bearcats in Twickenham, do a volunteer takeover once a year. Local to me, the Bearcats. And yeah, very familiar with you guys. Seen you very regularly when I pop over that way. Obviously, Cabbage Patch 10 and so on. And you have the, oh my goodness, the comedian who has the, was on... What is it? I don't watch TV no more. As Dara O'Brien, Mock the Week, Milton Jones. He was on. He's a Bearcat, isn't he, from Twickenham Way? Milton Jones. Little anecdote for you. Big fan of his. I really like him. And I was in Teddington High Street, and he was walking along, and I hollered out to him from the other side of the road. And I was like, Milton, love your stuff. Very positive and happy. A little while later, a friend of mine, Peach, who's Junior Park Run founder, he went into the pub, I think it was the Clock House, and spoke to Milton. And Pete brought up the fact, because I happened to bump into Pete and tell him I just saw Milton Jones. And Pete went to go and speak to Milton, and my friend hollered out towards it. And Milton said it was quite nice, because usually when people are hollering out, he says, people say hurl out like bad stuff. And I just touched me a little bit, but also I'm really pleased that it lifted him a little, that I was hollering out the fact that I liked what he did. And yeah, so there you go. Bearcats, little anecdote for you. Milton Jones, big fan. And that was must be about 10 years ago. Victoria Lawrence, just back from dog walking and listening to this week's Innuendo Field pod. Yes, if you are a pod listener, not just a live watcher, there's a lot of an innuendo. But that tends to be, I've tried to do it every year for Christmas. There's so much opportunity with innuendo and Christmas things. Ian Thompson, sketchy from a human rights point of view. Sketchy is being polite, I think. We've tried with my mother-in-law. She's come along to Huntingdon a few times, says Tony Reeves, and even acted as a marshal once. We were short. Despite the fact she lives near Cannock Chase and walks a dog there every day, she won't try volunteering there. It would be so good for her. Cannot relate to this anymore. My auntie lives Gladstone Park Runway. Took her down for the inaugural, and I was there really hoping that she'd connect or consider going regularly, expand her social circle and community involvement. Didn't happen. You know, when certain people that you love or are close to and relatives would benefit enormously from it, you try and take them there, try and plant that seed, and sometimes it just doesn't take root. And yeah, we try our best. What are your plans? Oh, right. Sorry, David Irwin. What are your plans for Parkrun 20? You mean the 20th anniversary? Bushy will be for Parkrun 20th anniversary. It would be remiss if I wasn't there. I'm sure. I mean, look, everyone's going to focus and beeline toward that. I'm conscious of going there. So I had the conversation with the co-ED and his wife, Sue and Andy. May have been, it was about 10 months ago or something. So we had discussions about numbers. So they were watching and keeping tabs on 888 and 777 and Nelsons and all that, because they're always going to be the ones that hit or have hit and potentially hit the numbers first. So they had a lot of stress over, was it 981, 999? Is it something along those lines? 999 is the next Nelson. 981, I think, is the Fibonacci. Then you have the 1,000, so people will naturally gravitate toward the 1,000 because it's just the 1,000th event. People are going to go there. I won't be there for that. And then a short while later, it's then due to be the 20th anniversary. So I'm conscious about, I wouldn't be there for 981, wouldn't be there for 999. 1,000 would be tempting, but I don't need to go. And then 20th anniversary, as it's my home park run, and I have tended to be there for most of the years. I don't want to be part of the traffic. At the same point, it's local to me, so I'm not doing that. I haven't done for the past X amount of years. But it will be overwhelming. They're okay with that. So Sue was like, please come along. So I'm not saying that I needed permission or wanted an invite. But that is the one of the 4 that I will go to. I just think people want to hear about it. You can't be there from a recording it point of view, from audio recording or any video stuff that we may be able to do. You'll see a lot of it on TV, I'm sure. No doubt BBC and every other people will be interested in the 20th anniversary. It's going to be a big one. 20th is a significant figure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, even though people may say arbitrary, yeah, no, 20 is a big one. So Bushy, I plan to be at, as I am on Christmas Day. Yeah, I don't really tend to go to Bushy very regularly, but that will be an exception. I say it's an exception, it's not true. I tend to lean there toward the anniversary and Christmas Day now. Rachel Bentley enjoyed all the innuendo. Was Kay Cottrell? Hello, Kay. My favourite was camping at Wolford Wood Park. Oh, your memories. Camping at Wolford Wood. Have we? No, we've not camped. Bev did have a motorhome once. Oh, no. What we're talking about? We went down to Willicombe. Of course we did. Think, Danny, think. Ian Thompson. What of the unofficial Thai park run thing that isn't a proper time 5K would it benefit from coming under the bigger organization? Well, I'm going to be biased and say yes, absolutely. Of course it's going to benefit from it because Netherlands came from that. They were born from that. They were a couple of events coming under the athletics banner. I think on Dutch athletics banner. I may mix this up a little bit, but then came under the parkrun banner. It made more sense. There are more than one fake parkrun elements out there, organizations out there. There are a few. Do you want it to become a complete monopoly? Is there damage to there being a complete monopoly? Maybe, potentially. I don't know. Beverly, I think your best memory was doing a Z in Amsterdam. It was a great weekend. Emma Shaw, one of my favorite parkrun memories was meeting Mummy Norman for the first time. So gorgeous and such great company. Loved her. She may well be watching right now, Emma. She'll certainly watch it back and she'll appreciate that comment. I was laughing so loud at the innuendo in the pod. I got some really funny looks. Don't spoil it. No spoilers, actually. No spoilers. Right. And people chatting amongst themselves. Mark Williamson, we occasionally resort to voluntelling on a Sunday morning with parents. What's that? Telling them that they have to volunteer. As Forest Dean Juniors, right? One of the very earliest ones. Bushy, and then Forest Dean was second, if I'm not mistaken, and then Savile Garden. There's only 2 park runs that are only monthly. Thank you very much to Steve Dye for reminding me about that. Hanworth is a lovely venue, says Ian Thompson. Emma Shaw show and Ian Thompson show for both 5K and juniors. Plus, there's a brilliant cafe that does an amazing bubble and squeak. Martin Owen, ouch. Because I muted you. You did it to yourself. Helen Rutter, when we went to New Zealand, I park walked at Cambridge so that our relatives would come along. My sister-in-law unfortunately broke her ankle, so could not come, but I tried to persuade them to come and watch or volunteer or anything. In the end, they turned up to meet us at the cafe for a park faff, but did not see the park run. I was hoping to have 2 new recruits and we won't get a chance again. Well, unlikely. Yeah, the biggest job is getting them down in the first place, isn't it? Once they see it for themselves, then there's the greatest opportunity if you get someone along to see it for themselves and then getting taken in. Lee Hopkins, can't decide where to do my 250th event run on the 30th of December. Is this only called the Super Norman run where I get to 500 park runs? I'm running on 457 so far. Is there a Super Norman club or merch? There's no club and merch. In terms of the Super Norman stuff, if you're not quite aware, that's just me taking the mickey out of it. The whole naming after things, as I have said in the past, have been a record. I created a monster by calling the 100 different events a cowl. Then it basically led to people seeking niches, trying to be the first to do X amount and having things named after themselves. They saw what Chris, who's a very humble guy, became legacied as you see, because of the fact that there's cows, UK Parkrun Tourist Group, and everything else, that tourism is synonymous with the name cow and cowl now, and everybody wanted a slice of that. And I watched people were contriving to make sure that people knew that they were doing unique things, and then going, we should call this and call it after me, call it after me, call it after me. So I did that, and I thought, right, let's parody it, Norman Club, Super Norman Club, and then see how people reacted. Oh, don't want to name it after yourself. Right, okay, so that you have an issue with me doing it, and that's what I'm trying to say, is that it becomes a bit, when you pat yourself on the back and try to call something after yourself, that's where it becomes a bit tricky. And yeah, it's egotistical. I think personally, it's egotistical that you want to try and name something after yourself that you've done for the first time. It's, if people have given it to you, attributed it to you, I think that's different, which is the case of Chris Cowell, very, very lovely, humble guy. But to then go around and manipulate a scenario to find a hook or a niche, and then say, look, I'm going to name it after me, I think that makes people feel a bit, not quite sure, does have a bit of a cult element to it. So the Norman Club, and then they said that when I get to 1,500, so 1,000 parkruns, 500 different, it would be the super mega amazing, super mega extremely great, magnificent, amazing club. And I was hoping people would pick up on the fact that I am trying to parody and pastiche all that has gone on, if that makes sense. Zegerplas Parkrun, Amsterdam starts in January. Thank you, David. That's for another Z. Great. People can have other choices. We try not to do, well, it doesn't really matter overseas, but I don't really want to, again, don't want to endorse inaugurals. I don't need to go over that as to why. I know it's different because it's Netherlands, but yeah, I don't want people to go rushing over there and overwhelm an event early days just for a letter, because yeah, I just wish people were a bit more patient. But it refers back to me going back to the whole, I want to be the first to do X, Y, and Z, and therefore it puts pressure on volunteers just so people want to satisfy their completionism, I guess. I'm perfectly happy with waiting. I don't need to go to inaugurals. I don't need to go and be London straight away. I don't need to finish multiple alphabets and so on. That is a path that leads you down a relationship with parkrun that becomes a bit toxic, I think, and aggressive and controversial and combative, and yeah, it just splits people, and that's not part of parkrun. I think we all have a duty to sort of understand them and look after parkrun, and like I say, you can either be a part of the problem or part of the solution, and I would rather adapt my behavior to help rather than self-satisfy and do that instant gratification thing. Sorry if you disagree, but that's just my feeling and opinion. Emma Shaw, when anticipating large numbers, it is comforting to know that experienced heads, event directors would be there, who would be there, etc. would be there, who would use initiative to jump in and help where they see the need. Yeah, absolutely. I think Bushy will be fine. Bushy will be all okay anyway. I mean, they get 70 plus volunteers. Yeah, they are so well established. Yeah, they are unique. They are unique in their standing in parkrun world. They know that. We all know that. Yeah, definitely has a different element compared to many other parkruns. With Perkins, I met a load of locals and international residents running in Riyadh last night, and they told me that running is becoming much more popular here in the last couple of years. My viewpoint is coming from the benefit of parkrun to locals, especially women, rather than considering any political gain for the country. Sorry if I've upset. No, you haven't upset anyone. If I opine an opinion, I'm not telling you off. I'm not literally. Please don't take it that way. Don't infer that. Everything is so different here to what I expected. Yeah, it's not about the localized element, it's about the message being sent and the endorsement of it. You can see that because Qatar happened with the World Cup. You've got Man City over there for the World Club Championships now for football. I mean, we had the Olympics in China, which have got, I'm allowed to say this, they've got questionable human rights records, and you got Uyghur Muslims factor. This is, again, it becomes all political, doesn't it? It becomes very inflammatory. And then Russia, again, you had Sochi, and then you had question marks hanging over that, and now they're being done for the doping elements, and they're being banned from the Olympics, and it becomes really sticky. I'm trying to be as open as possible about regarding it. You haven't upset anybody. It's just that there are certain countries that are politically a little bit more inflammatory if you would to bring them into parkrun, and you have to see if it's going to be a good fit for the mold and the brand of parkrun. And I don't think Saudi Arabia right now would be, regardless of what's happening locally at street level. Ian Thompson talking about parkrun as a monopoly. It's not like a New York Roadrunners type stranglehold. Yeah, no, I'm not going to say they're going to be. I mean, there was a great run local tried to come along and match, and they did things differently and found out there's a particular formula that you need to do that doesn't quite work. But you don't. Would it be great if you could go to any parkrun, any country in the world and do a parkrun? Absolutely, of course it would be. It'd be lovely. We'd all enjoy that. I'm sure we'd go to countries we'd be wanting to go and give you a bit of a more of a push, or and recognize that countries like Saudi Arabia could potentially have something like parkrun, and it could impact in terms of equalizing things with female runner participation. But it's never as simple as that. It's not black and white, is it? David Rivers, my favorite parkrun experience of 2023 was the Scandi Triple, especially VAC show and getting my D index started at Stockley Country. Yeah, VAC show, unfortunately, a Vexwa or whatever. And then, of course, that was the thing that triggered the whole having to be amalgamated into one day. So, yes, you'll have that experience in your head, unfortunately, a victim of its own success, and then triggered. That's what I was saying at the time. People got so upset with me, and I wasn't saying, how dare you? I was saying what you've done will have a consequence, which then meant it spread out over the Scandinavian countries on the same day to Ascension Day. That's what I was trying to hint at, but some people completely didn't listen to what I was saying. They may have heard me, but they weren't listening to what I was trying to let you know. And of course, when it came out, they changed it. That's what I was basically intonating toward. I've seen it enough times. And then D index started at Stockley Country. Well, thank you very much, David. Danny index, that is, if you're not sure what he's talking about. It's not what you, Martin, will you let it go? It's not what you said. It's you pestering about certain things, asking me questions. I sometimes, so, like now, I'm happy to chat to you, but sometimes on Twitter, I'm just like, yeah, I haven't got time for this. It's just basically like pestering me. I get it enough in terms of comms. You're too early to into the pod stuff to realize that I was being overwhelmed enormously at one point with lots of DMs about mental health topics and matters, and it caused a lot of stress. I'm not saying that you did that. It's just that there's this parasocial element. You're talking to me right now, but then when people think, they get a bit confused about the parasocial element and start talking to me as if you're my buddy and my pal, and I've never met you. And I understand you want to joke around a little bit, but sometimes there's an overstepping of the mark. I have a relationship with Nicola. I have a relationship with people close and local to me, but sometimes people they make certain comments. You think, you wouldn't say that to my face. And I don't know you well enough for you to do that. And so I respect it's all in jest, but sometimes people overstep the mark, like little comments I've said in the past, like people saying I punch above my weight with relationships. I'm thinking that's untoward, it's unnecessary. I wouldn't say that to you. So yeah, not you particular, Martin, just saying that some people just forget that I have an audience and talking to you, I don't have a one-to-one relationship with you. But it'll be different, Matt, if I met you potentially. I'm in terms of like, yeah, if I get to speak to you locally at a parkrun, then so be it, fantastic. But some of the comments made online by people, they would never do and have never done. I've been in their vicinity. They said something online. I'll be in their vicinity and they don't say anything to me. I just find it fascinating. Like I say, parasocial. Lee Hopkins, I knew the background, but I think it would still be great to have some parody merch. Well, if anybody wants to help me to do that on top of everything else. Victoria Lawrence, Sheringham a super Normaning this Saturday. It's event 500. Super duper. Right. I need to go for a run in a bit. I've gone way too long. We need a dose of Dolly. Dolly's gone out. Kerry Eastwood, she's gone out. Ian Thompson would wear a particular T-shirt. Ridiculously attractive. Helen Rutter, I agree with multiple alphabets. If you travel to the other side of the world, visit a park when you fancy, near where you're at or where the scenery is, what you prefer, not just for the initial letter. That is my own opinion. I know others disagree. Yeah, each to their own, but you're allowed to have your opinion. I mean, people can do, if they can travel over to do something for whatever particular reason, purpose, fine, but you don't have to agree with what they're doing. Yeah, that's just it. As long as you just say, look, I'm not going to be behind it and endorse it, not comfortable with it. Yeah, this is where the division comes. It's a bit marmitey. Johan Duvenhaag, back and still awake. Zastron Commons Parkrun is probably one of the more difficult says to get to, but you're still very welcome to visit. South Africa. Well, there you go. Referring back to, I haven't done my thing about why parkrun isn't a race because I wanted to come up. I wanted to do analogies about how you have a running event and then you have like a paragraph, and then you have like a hierarchy, and then you have a race and a run. And what's the difference? And you would have, I was going to do something graphically regarding this, that, well, I race it, therefore it is a race. Yeah, but what you do, verb, and what something is noun, is two different things. So of course, if you jog around a race, it doesn't become a light jog. But then you also have, oh, but it's got all the elements the same. Or you're thinking, well, okay, parkrun has tokens and times and everything else, but so do races. But then again, that's like saying a bus is a car. A bus has windows, it has a steering wheel, it has wheels, but it's different. Why is it different? Because there are certain elements. So for example, in races, road races, for example, you can't run around with dogs, you can't run around with buggies, you can't run around with your kids, you can't do it on the road. There are trophies to be given out, there are prizes to be given out. And in terms of it going to be official measurement, and you have to have race adjudicators, and parkrun doesn't have any of that. So there are differences. So when you say parkrun is a race, it is like saying I'm insisting that a bus is a car. They are both vehicles. They both have similarities, but they're both different. And I was just going to talk about that, but I think you guys pretty much get the gist and are on board with all that anyway. For Zeds, for Johan as well, reminding me Namibia, I kind of promised would go to potentially, ideally, for a while and go and see the seals. Whether or not that happens, that may be 2025, 26. Yeah, Walvis Bay, Swakopmund, and yeah, down there. But I don't know what life has in store for 2024. It's going to be a very interesting one. It's going to be a very, very interesting one. Who knows, the lives, these only go on for a little bit. The pod may stop at some point, something may happen in life, health, or who knows, or something positive may be fantastic and opens up a world of opportunities. It's all the best laid plans of mice and men, eh? Lois Eaton, for some the challenges are the motivation, as PBs are never going to be a thing. Yeah, no, I get that. I haven't run a PB and since 2009. That's 14 years ago, and I'm not likely to run a PB ever again. So I find my motivations in different places, but it's surely about touristing in a responsible way. Pick a challenge that won't have a detrimental impact, such as Wilson Index. And that's the entire point, is that you can do the Spider-Man meme and point fingers at each other and go, well, you did this and you did that. So some people will say, I'm quite happy to go locally and not tour around at all. And some people say a green impact, and then you can say, well, I don't have kids and I am vegetarian, and therefore I don't put a drain on the CO2 element and the carbon footprint, and I work from home, so I don't travel around. And then you'll have other people will fly off. So this is the whole thing, that it's not black and white, it's nuanced. There are varying degrees as to, some people are going to do things for a particular reason, others would be like, I'm not quite so comfortable about it, and what is the agenda behind it, and for whatever purpose and reason. Motivations, to be honest with you, it's about relating to it. And so some people will see somebody have a motivation and go, I don't really understand and get that. I don't understand the P index, but I understand why Nicola does it. That's certainly a motivation for it, and that's perfectly fine. But then there are certain ones that tip over the line, I guess, for other people. But doesn't have a detrimental impact, such as the Wilson Index. Yeah, in terms of going to an inaugural, I don't really think the Wilson Index is a major impactor and drain. It's certainly not anywhere near as much as, say, the 777s or the Nelsons and the Fibonacci's were. The only good thing about Russia and sport is John Terry crying in Moscow. Very referential, Ian. Ruth Perkins, understandable. Thank you for the context, Annie. Yeah, hopefully that gives you context, Ruth. I'm wary and scared of talking about geopolitics because I'm not an expert by any means, but I certainly can foresee the gate element if parkrun was to be there, or in other countries where people would question their morality. But like Lois says, you can argue in terms of on a bigger scale as to, again, your country does this, your country does that. Why is that country acceptable? Why is that country not okay? That's life as a whole, I think. Have you seen your parkrun footage in for TikTok yet? Yeah, you know my feelings on that. I ranted about that. I didn't rant about that. I just expressed my feelings on Twitter about it. TikTok, I know that you're a big fan, Victoria. So I will say now, Victoria's going to be biased and a big fan of TikTok and sees elements and positivities to it. I think TikTok is, again, questionable. But you could question Facebook. They were brought before a senator's hearing, and just Mark Zuckerberg just talk nonsense. But then you have TikTok has got question marks over its governmental control with China, but they don't answer to anybody. At least Facebook has to answer to someone. But then you have Cambridge Analytica and the impact it has. So I can say, oh, Facebook's okay, but it's not. And then TikTok, well, that's dodgy but I'm not on it. So have I sent my parkrun footage in for TikTok? I don't think it's going to be as spectacular as people were making out, because they were doing like a special video saying, oh, look, well, ta-da, TikTok, it's coming. And you're telling a bunch of people on Facebook about it who don't know or care about TikTok on a whole, generally. And I don't see short form content as being, I don't know, maybe it's my naivety, maybe I'm getting too old now as I get into edge toward my 50s, that I see TikTok as fleeting and it's a race to the bottom. I think it's lowest common denominator. I know it can be impactful in certain ways, but I think that it's net negative. Maybe there are certainly positives to it, but I think it's net negative. Points competition stopped being a thing. Points competition was stopped by being a thing because it was a negative, not because of the race element, but it certainly was part of the, if you're going to send a message that it's not a competition or a race, then you are prioritizing people for speeding around as fast as they can to get them more points. It certainly didn't gel with the ethos. And as someone who got involved in the points competition and won it in 2010 for Bushy, I went through all that and realized how much of a negative impact it had on me, how toxic it was in my relationship with my competitors. I would never repeat that year ever again. It was, I got pulled into it. I got swept up into it. So that's why I'm trying to say I've learned from my history. It's, if you treat parkrun like you've got to blast around and got to race it every week, it is not a healthy relationship to have with parkrun. I've been there, and it can certainly impact, like points competition did, on your relationship with people in your community when you could have it as a better relationship. And a prime example of that with me and the guy called Rodney McCulloch, who puts on the Arethusa Mile that I started. Happily be there every week, every Wednesday for 25, 26 weeks throughout the summer. Get on really well. But we didn't back then because we were racing each other, and it was horrendous. That's one thing that if I could take back and do again, I definitely would do that. I got my name on a trophy. I don't even know where a trophy is, and it was meaningless because people are more important than a engraving on a piece of metal. Recently attended a parkrun where the volunteer during the first timers briefing referred to it as a race twice. Yeah, it happens. I've got it in this week's podcast. The one director called it a race accidentally. Sometimes the language just slips through. Some people will always see it like that. As long as you understand the implications of connotation, if you're telling people it's a race, then you're going to put off more people than you encourage in. Many people have the connotation of race is vests, shorts, racing around, whippets. It's all about getting to the line as fast as you can. So if you've got people who want to enter into running as a gateway, then if you're going to give that impression, you're going to put them off. Whereas run is softer. It's softer. It may not be perfect, but it's still softer. Oh, sorry, Johan. We're still awaiting in anticipation for you to get to Namibia. Yes. Yeah. Let's see what happens. I mean, Jem's on board for that. Let's see. I bet it's not happening for a long time because of this. To be perfectly honest with you, that's why I'm trying to work hard to change scenarios and circumstances regarding that. I just hope you have a healthy and happy 2024, which is very kind of you. And secondary to that, achieve whatever you decide to do, says Helen. Hopefully some more traveling. Same for all of the supporters here. Wishing you much happiness and peace. I think everybody watching right now sends a lot of love and peace to everybody and best wishes. Everybody's got everyone else's. Most people have everyone's best interests at heart. You're going to get some sociopaths out there. You are. But most people generally are good. Imran, hello. Which countries do you see parkrun expanding to next? Not for a while. Again, there's not going to be any new countries coming for not in 2024, I was told. 2025, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Spain. I don't know. I have no inside information, no confirmation, but Spain was on the cards in the past. So you might see some more European countries. Now they've done the EMEA, Europe, Middle East and Asia section for Tom, with Tom Williams looking after that. I expect that may expand itself. So you're going to find this side of the world will expand. And interesting one. Just more generally, I think. I couldn't say for sure. Certainly, I think it's easier to establish in Europe than it is in other locations. Maybe. Who knows? Good question. Don't know. I don't like the short vids, no depth to them for me. This is TikTok. I get frustrated with them on YouTube, and I wish I could opt out for them. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here like an old man, like a Grandpa Simpson, shouting at the clouds in the sky, going, TikTok, it's rubbish, because it is obviously successful with a particular generation for a reason. It's the smallest demographic with parkrun. Would it revolutionize that smallest demographic to become a more even based attendance? In an ideal world, it would be. I just don't believe it will. Will people turn up to parkrun because they see some fancy TikTok videos and does some dancing? Might become a bit more aware of it, but I don't. I'm not sure. I think it's just ticking a box. And like I say, these platforms come and go. Twitter, Elon is desperately trying to muck up Twitter as best he can, and Facebook could go a drop of a hat. You had Vine go, and Tumblr in the past, and MySpace, and maybe they're a bit more established, but Instagram, there are a multitude of platforms, and some will go, some will stay, some will be more successful than others. That's the evolving world of social media. Richard Bentley agrees regarding the points competition. Rachel will have been involved in that at some point, I'm sure, over Bromley Way, if I'm not mistaken. Points competition at Basingstoke got a bit obsessive. Still friends with two guys I was racing against. Yeah, I think most people agree who were involved. It was not no one misses it from a community and friend point of view, from a treating your fellow parkrunners as an equal. Was hoping Ian Thompson again. Ian's so busy on the chat. Kerry, will you talk to Ian? Tell him to stop typing. TikTok and Facebook, more or less the same issues over privacy and personal data. Yeah, one is answerable to the Senate in the US. TikTok is not answerable to the Chinese government. It's fundamentally run by it. If I make a broad feeling about it, concur that sentiment. I'm on TikTok, but only to follow Taylor Swift. Really? I like Taylor Swift. Big fan of Taylor Swift. Yeah. Okay. I won't go on TikTok. I again sound like an old man. I don't want to have my data. I don't trust them. But there I am on Twitter and on YouTube right now, and on Facebook and everything else. I recognize that there is varying degrees of lines drawn. Have you tried Threads, Danny? I've dipped in, quite like it. I have. I can't quite get with it. You've got Be Real, which is another one. Give that a go. Not a big fan. Threads I found is a bit empty. Yeah. Victoria Lawrence, the TikTok stan. It's so niche. If you like running, you'll see parkrun. If you don't have a clue about parkrun like cats, you'll see cats, so the reach won't happen. Right, but okay, fair point, Victoria. In response, and so what's the point of going on then? Just if you're going to sing, to the preach to the converted and sing to the captive crowd, as it were. So if you like parkrun already, what will TikTok bring you in terms of what you don't get from other platforms? I'm genuinely interested to know. Genuinely interested to know. I think there's going to be a lot of work and management in terms of messaging for a parkrun HQ if they try and hand it over to someone else, because they can easily go wrong. You make a slip up, you're going to get a furore. Look at Vassos regarding you make one thing or send out one message that hasn't been overseen by their comms department. TikTok and Chinese government ownerships of Tony Reeves. Facebook, sadly, not as answerable to the Senate as you might hope. No, but the fact that he did actually get brought before the Senate is a shaft of light, as it were. Yeah, so we're in agreement here, but yeah, I think there's at least something was looked at, and they would bring in regulation. And I think social media will be regulated tighter. It's nowhere near as regulated as, say, the print press is. I don't think that's fair, and I wouldn't be surprised if that gets brought in, but there will be rules brought in for the Western world, not necessarily for China and TikTok. Can't go wrong with cats or parkrun. That is fundamentally my feed on everything. That is as well. Exactly, that is all it will bring. It'll be a lot of work. Yeah. Let's wait and see. Look, I was a cynical git about the magazine. I don't think it's had the resounding impact that we were assured it would. I don't want to just poo-poo on everything that they do, but sometimes you can go, do you know what? That's a fantastic idea. I'm well behind it. I like that. And sometimes you go, oh, well, not quite so sure. And if you have that opinion, feel free to express it. And that's what I'm doing. And it's what I've done. Magazine I was a bit cynical about. I'm not saying the magazine isn't good for a certain select audience, but it just didn't stimulate me, and I don't think it did all the stuff it was promising. They're going, oh, lots of people not online, and it's going to get people who don't have access to digital media. has it really had a resounding impact? How do you quantify that? I would be a bit cynical about any sort of information. If you did have stuff that was having a resounding impact, you'd have heard about it, and we're not. And of course, don't forget, and then people look at data and stats and then say, well, okay, is this being biased in one way or another? Goes around and around in a circle. Anyway, anything else that I wanted to do? 2024, the plans 2024, just to keep on touring where I can without being arduous, to keep bringing the pod to people where I can, keep profiling events, keep on being excited, loving parkrun. Yeah, let's just wait and see. 2024 is going to be a very interesting year for me. It's I expect there'll be big changes up ahead. It all depends. A lot of things are out of your hands sometimes. You can certainly take yourself one way or another, but you are beholden to other people's input as well. Rachel Bentley, yeah, an hour and 30. Wow, way longer than I thought I'd be. Thank you for the company, chats and discussions. Enjoy your run, Danny. Thank you very much. Yeah, I when I'm talking, I'm just thinking out loud, and you may or may not agree, but I'm trying to be as fair as possible in terms of what I express. I think about a lot of things all the time. I took some mags to a doctor's surgery and swear they just went in the bin. Yeah, sometimes, has it had the reach it is wanted to? No, and I don't want to be, oh, I told you so. I get nothing out of that. Have a good run. And Andy Gardner, hello, Jardinia. Been having a listen whilst working late into the night. Love to the family. Love to the family. Yeah, exploding heads. Thank you for joining me, guys. It's 9 o'clock. I need to go for my run. I'm now going to be running around like a lunatic late at night. But thank you. Oh, pen lid. Dolly is scratching at the door. God, there were a lot of topics that got brought up that I could have covered. Best memory. Do you know what? That's one of the best ones I want to talk about, I think, on Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday, peeps. I'll be back with you on Sunday and on Christmas Day. Not sure what Christmas Day. I'll schedule it all in so it pops up in your feeds. What am I going to do for Bush's 20th? Yeah, I could talk about parkrun for hours and hours, and you guys would happily join in and listen, and I appreciate it. And what I like about it is something like the geopolitics of parkrun in Saudi Arabia, or what is parkrun a race or not, or anything like that. You guys, that's what people ask me, how do you talk about parkrun for so long? Because those sort of topics are the thing that could run and run and run and run. Anyway, Summer Finch, how did you, talking to Emma, I'll ignore that. Let's go. I left some in Cafe Nero. Who are you chatting to? Kerry, take the phone off him. You seem to be in a good place currently, Danny. Hope that lasts. Maybe you're finding a better balance. Have a great Christmas in 2024. I think running comes in with that. Look, if you met me in 2012, it'd be very different to how I was 5 years ago. It's actually this time of year. Sorry to look, I'm going on longer. 5 years ago, this month was when I was at my lowest ebb, at my critical ebb, where I wanted to take my life. I've worked hard to get back, even from a fitness point of view, running point of view. My times are getting better. My personal life is obviously different. I am in a better place than what I have been, but not as good as what I used to be further back. And I always have aims and ambitions to get back to there too. So I'm glad it's noticeable. I'm a lot more comfortable, confident than I have been for a long time. It's been a long, hard slog back. Thank you for noticing, Lois. Right. Thank you to everybody. You're making me Danny rant to my sister. What about because of the food or other topics? Probably about the cold pizza or something. Thanks, Danny. Night, everybody. Thanks for these live videos. Enjoy your run. You're very welcome. As long as I have an audience, as long as I'm keeping you guys entertained, keep the comments, keep the topics coming, I should say. Right. Thanks for another great live session. You ridiculously good looking bloke. Thanks. Jem thinks so. And Jem, I'll be honest with you, she's not going to watch this, but Jem's a major factor in when you're like to say it, when you love someone, obviously it's a nice thing to have, isn't it? It's been a loving relationship that has a resounding impact too. Kerry Eastwood's not with Ian, or just find him up afterwards and tell him off. Right. Sending all the love and best wishes. Thank you very much indeed. All the comments coming in. This shows makes me very happy too. But also, don't forget that when people are down, recognize that too and talk to them. That's one thing. When you're down, people don't talk to you. When you're happy, people want to come forward to you and want to be around you. Just sometimes remember to keep eyes out for people when they're quiet. It's very easy. You want to surround yourself with positive people, but make sure that people who were formerly positive, if they're feeling a bit down, just check up on them and ask them if they are okay. Hoping 2024 is better for you, Danny, and your loved ones. Thanks, Deanne. Much appreciated. You're very welcome, guys. Anyway, take care. I'm now going to go and run off lots of energies and go and see what Bev is ranting about. See you Sunday night. Take care, everyone. Love to you all. Christmas Eve is a coming. Take care. Bye.